Hey guys, it's Tia from That's What She Fed, and I'm excited to show you what I've been working on lately. As you can see, the run is up here. I did forget to update you guys on that. So the chickens are by us now, yay! And their run is here so they can be outside. That pool is going to be their dust bath once I fill it. And what I've added that I'm super excited about are all of these cinder blocks. So they don't look as pretty when they're wet, but I'm super excited about the potential already. And what I did is I filled them with dirt and planted seeds. So I'm hoping that we are past our last frost. You never know, but I'm taking the gamble and I am putting seeds in the ground. So I can actually show you guys what I've been up to. Here's a little glimpse of what I've done. Starting by the door, we have garlic, lettuce, Swiss chard, pickling cucumber mixed in with a mix of sunflower seeds, and of course nasturtiums are thrown in through here. We have the cherry tomato, anise, chamomile, cucamelons, and tomatoes. In here we have marigolds in multiple, and of course more nasturtiums, the vining ones in the multiple. And then we have the standard size cucumber going around the corner, the sunflower from 2020, kale, peas, oregano, thyme, basil, small pie pumpkins, sage, broccoli, parsley, and then the grapevine that I transplanted. So I probably sound like a broken record at this point. Costs are going up, food shortages, all of that. But I mean, the truth is costs are going up. And so I'm just trying to prepare for it. That is what my everyday has been surrounding, is just being prepared. And that way I won't be affected by it as much as possible, as much as I can do. So our garden here, this is the chickens' garden. This is what's going to feed them. All of those plants that you just saw are great for chickens. Some of them are good antibiotics and good for their respiratory systems, good for their immune systems. And so I planted them all for them specifically. Pumpkin seeds are even known to help with parasites. And yeah, so I'm growing all of this for the chickens so that we can lower our feed costs. Commercial feeds are going up as well, and I want to not have to rely on them as much. So honestly, these guys could free range once I get comfortable with that, possibly. If, heaven forbid, we can't afford the commercial feed, they can free range, and we're growing a garden for them, so they'll be covered. I also added some perches here that I've not seen them use yet. I just put them in there like a couple hours ago, so they might still be adjusting. I just found these sticks out in the woods, which is perfect because you know me, I love free. It's my favorite price. And so I don't even know if they'll like it, but I'm hoping that they do. Hi, ladies. Hello, ladies. I just put food for the quail inside that gray tote there, so they're trying to get to it currently. These turkeys. Okay, so speaking of quail, that's exactly what I've been wanting to talk to you guys about. I believe everyone should own quail if they're trying to start a new self-sustaining life, and I think it should be the first livestock animal you get. I call them my gateway bird because I got quail first, and then I got chickens, and then it's escalated from there, obviously. Look at us. So quail are perfect because they are small. You can raise them for meat and eggs. We personally just raise them for eggs. My son will not eat chicken eggs. He thinks that there's just too much yolk, and he doesn't like it. However, quail eggs, they're about this big, and you can just pop them in your mouth. Like hard-boiled, we like them hard-boiled. Just pop them in your mouth, and it's a more mild flavor. The yolk isn't as strong, and my son loves it. So they're not as lovey as chickens are. However, we have raised ours from hatching, and so they're usually pretty calm with us. However, if you go to pick them up, they are going to run. But they'll walk around us and stuff like that. Other people, their quail are a little more wild because they're not as hands-on with them. It just is all on how you raise them. But they're definitely not like the chickens. However, they're super easy to care for. You don't need as big of a space for them, and they just have a crumble feed, give them water, easy peasy. So I would like to talk about their cages. Their cages need to be either about 18 inches at most tall, and that sounds bad, but they're ground birds. They don't perch in trees, they don't want to go up, they want to be down on the ground hiding in the brush. So keeping their cages small is what keeps them safe, because when they pop, they get scared, they pop straight up, and if their cage is tall enough, they'll pop right up into that cage and break their necks. Or if you have the cage taller, like we do, then it's safer, because by the time they get up there, they lose their momentum, and so they can't hurt their necks that way. And the reason why I think everyone can have quail is because they are quiet and they're small and they don't take up a lot of space. So we even, thanks Rizzo for pecking at my ring. We even had them when we lived in a subdivision. No one would ever know you have them, okay? So the sounds that they make are not like chickens. The females hardly make a sound. They actually sound like frogs. And it's really quiet. And then the males, when they do their crowing, it actually sounds like a wild bird. It doesn't sound like a rooster. And so I don't think anyone, if they heard it, they would, ouch, that hurts, Rizzo. If anyone heard it, they would just assume it's a wild bird. There's no complaining, no, it's not going to disrupt your neighbors or anything like that. So how a lot of people raise quail, and how I used to do it, is raised up off the ground. So actually, that's their coop right there. You see how it's on legs? They have wire mesh on the bottom, and their poop would fall through. And then I just had trays underneath them. Concrete mixing trays were the cheapest way to go. And I had the trays underneath them with some pine shavings in there, or pine pellets, and I have chickens pecking at my back right now. And that would catch all of their droppings, and then you just throw it in your compost pile or in the garbage, whatever you prefer. So that cage worked perfectly in Illinois. I had no problems with it. However, as you can see, it is more than 18 inches tall on this side, and here it became a problem. So that's why these quail are now with the chickens, which is frowned upon, I will let you know. Chickens can carry diseases that can kill quail, but chickens will survive with it and not even show symptoms of it. So you don't typically want to put quail with chickens. However, I had an emergency situation, had to do it, and they've been thriving just fine. And I think that it's more natural in here for them. They have room to run around. As you guys know, I try to give my animals more of a natural lifestyle, and so I try to give them the biggest area that they can have. I'm actually going to be getting more quail, because when I put these guys with the chickens, I sprayed them with Blue Coat. And Blue Coat is like a purple spray, and it's good for healing wounds. They didn't have any wounds, but I sprayed them because it tastes bad. And so I figured if the chickens tried pecking them, then they would not want to do it again because it tastes bad. And so I don't know if it worked because of the Blue Coat or just because my chickens are nice, but it worked. I just found out recently though, Blue Coat has a lifetime, what do you call it? Not withdrawal, but you cannot eat the meat of an animal that you sprayed. It is a carcinogen. So I have taken that a step further and decided I'm also not going to eat their eggs. So these quail are now just pets. They are no longer feeding us. I'm going to keep these guys with the chickens for the rest of their lives, most likely. And I'm going to set up a new area away from the chickens with my quail that I'm going to be getting, and I'm going to hatch them out in an incubator myself. That's how I've always done it. I've done it twice now, and I just think that's the best way to go. It's the cheapest way to go. You get them from newborn babies. You get to experience hatching them in the incubator. Oh, it's so much fun watching the eggs and watching them zip their ways out of it. So quail eggs are actually very much a delicacy, and they have benefits that chicken eggs do not. And I will do a video later, hopefully, listing those benefits. I don't have them at the top of my head. I think there's a B vitamin in there somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, and they're awesome for pickled eggs, like I said. So we make those. So our new batch of quail I'm so excited about. Now, quail lay eggs. I don't know if you've seen them. They're like a light cream color with brown splotches all over them. And they're really cool looking. When I first got quail, I actually did not like the way their eggs looked. I felt like their eggs looked dirty. They looked like they had dirt all over them. But now I've come to love the way they look. However, I want celadon eggs. Celadon is a gene that is recessive, and so it's not common to find quail that lay celadon eggs, but the eggs are a light blue, almost like a robin's egg, but lighter, and they're just so beautiful. And so I found a breeder who has celadon hatching eggs, and all of her birds are like silver colors and different colors. It's a whole thing to get into, and I'm kind of nerdy about it, but there's all different colors that you can get, and the most common coloring is called Pharaoh, and that's brown. The second most common is probably the Texas A&M, that's the white one that I just showed you, and then there's others, but the silver ones, oh man, that's exciting. I've not had a silver one, and so I'm excited to have this. My husband's like, silver, and I'm like, and that's it, like, hello, it's like a collector's item. It's amazing. So anyways, I'm excited to have those and get started. Anyway, so back to saying that anyone can have quail, even in an apartment building, possibly. I will say, when I had the quail inside our house, we had them in the basement, and it was quite dusty. Birds in general are dusty. If you've ever had a pet bird, then you know they create dust. The quail created a ton of dust, and I think, don't quote me on this, I think most of it was because she's pecking my tattoos. I think most of it was from them growing. So they're growing and they're shedding all of that skin, and so Rizzo, you turkey. So they're growing and they're shedding all of that skin. So I think that's where most of the dust came from. Maybe once they were full grown, they wouldn't have been as dusty. But I mean, if you're willing to do that, you know, maybe have an air filter in there or something like that. They can be kept indoors, and a lot of people do. There's a lot of people who keep pet quail indoors, and so you could raise livestock inside your house even if you don't have any yard space outside, or, you know, if you think that the neighbors might be an issue. But like I said, they could have a very small cage outside. I like to keep mine on the ground now. I think that it's just more natural for them, but they thrive up on wire too. So whatever way you prefer is perfect. And like I said, your neighbors aren't even gonna know unless they see them. So I think you should get quail. So there you go. That is my case for raising quail. I think everyone should do it. I think that they have a lot of benefits, and they have a lot to offer, and they're also so beautiful, and they come in all sorts of colors, and they're easy to incubate their eggs and raise, and they're very easy to take care of. You know, like I said, just the crumble feed and water. They're good to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you'll consider getting quail. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to fill you in on all of it. And also, yeah, thank you for watching.